today's class I will start minerals. And the most important, not the most important, one of the most important minerals is iron. So today we will start iron, next day calcium, phosphate, copper, zinc, sodium, potassium, everything will be covered. Okay. Now today's learning objects. So we should know what are the dietary source, RDA. What is the full form of RDA? Recommended dietary allowance. Okay, dietary allowance. So, and functions of iron. Next, you should be able to describe the absorption, transport and storage of iron in body. This is the most important part regarding your long question. This part comes as long question. And then you should also know the clinical conditions resulting from deficiency and excess of iron in our body. And lastly, the list of tests used in laboratory for evaluation of iron status. Okay, all of these points you should be knowing. So, what is mineral? Minerals are inorganic compounds required for body's growth and normal functioning. So, we can divide nutrients into two parts, macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are carbohydrate, protein and fat, whereas micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. So, among minerals can also be divided into two categories. One is macrominerals, another is microminerals. Microminerals are also known as trace elements. Why they are called micro and why the other one is called as macro? Because macrominerals are required in excess of 100 milligram per day. It depends on the amount required per day. So, macrominerals are required in an amount of 100 milligram per day. More than 100 milligram per day of macrominerals are required, whereas the trace elements are required less than 100 milligram per day. So, while discussing iron, iron is a trace element. So, it is required much less than 100 milligram per day. That is why it is counted as micro mineral or trace element. Clear? So, if asked among MCQs, which one is not a macro mineral or which one is a micro mineral? Okay. So, here is the list. The left hand side, all the macro minerals, they are required in more than 100 milligram per day quantity, and whereas these micro minerals, they are required in very less amount, that is less than 100 milligram per day. Clear? Proceeding to iron. So, our body's total iron content is 3 to 5 gram. 3 to 5 gram. A whole body or adult human's body contains 3 to 5 gram of total iron. And this small amount is used again and again in the body. So, that is why it is known as one-way substance. So, in all other mechanisms, all other metabolic pathways, we see that we get it from dietary source and we use it and then we excrete it. In case of iron, generally iron is not excreted daily. The store of iron is reused again and again. Okay. So, how it is lost? Why we need dietary allowance, daily dietary allowance? Why? Anyone? From where there can be loss of iron? Hemolysis, tell the gross condition. Hemorrhage. Any kind of blood loss can lead to loss of iron, because the distribution of total iron is as such. 75% of body iron content is in hemoglobin, or our blood contains the 75% of the total iron, and rest are in ferritin and hemosiderin. These are the storage iron proteins, and in other heme containing proteins or iron containing enzymes, they are very less in amount, like 10% iron containing enzymes are 1%, transferrin is a transport protein that is less than 1%. Okay. So, see, can you see, in hemoglobin it is only 60 to 70%. In myoglobin 10%, ferritin, hemosiderin 20 to 30%. It varies, but approx 75% of total body iron is in blood. So, any kind of blood loss may lead to loss of iron. Otherwise, in daily metabolic pathway, iron is not excreted from our body. Now, we have to know what are the heme containing proteins or iron containing proteins. So, majority of the iron is trapped in hemoglobin, in blood, and then in myoglobin. Other heme containing proteins are cytochromes. Cytochrome oxidase, cytochrome B, C1C, all of these are present in where? Electron transport chain. So, in mitochondria. Okay. Myoglobin is present in muscle and hemoglobin in RBCs. Then all other enzymes also in various organs, in liver and other organs. Okay. So, heme containing proteins are the major iron containing proteins. Clear? There are other iron containing proteins like iron sulfur complexes. Complex 3 of ETC. It is a iron sulfur protein. Succinate dehydrogenase, xanthine oxidase, these enzymes are also iron sulfur complexes. And non-heme iron containing protein, that means there is no heme formation. You already know what is heme? Tetrapyrrole ring containing iron in the ferrous ion in the center. So, wherever there is iron but no heme formation, these are the proteins or the enzymes: transferrin, ferritin, hemosiderin, phenylalanine hydroxylase, aconitase. Okay, all of these are non-heme containing iron proteins. Clear? All of these can be asked in your short note or in your MCQs. Next. So, what are the dietary source for iron? Dietary source for iron. So, we have discussed that in human body or in animal's body, majority of the iron is stored in blood and in myoglobin. So, myoglobin is in muscle. So, in case of red meat, from meat or from liver, from egg yolk, we can get from animal source, and green leafy vegetables, whole grains and cereals are also sources for iron. Jaggery is also a good source of iron. Cooking in iron utensils also supplies some part of iron in our diet, and milk is a very poor source of iron. Okay. Now, these foods can be divided into two types based on what type of iron they are supplying. Animal proteins, animal iron rich foods, they supply heme containing protein, heme proteins like hemoglobin, myoglobin, etc. Whereas plant sources, they provide non-heme iron. Okay, easy to remember, animal source rich in heme protein, whereas plant sources are rich in non-heme protein. Okay, non-heme iron, sorry. Now, what is the recommended dietary allowance or RDA? This is also asked. See, adult men and post-menopausal women, they require 10 milligram per day. All the amounts are for daily requirement. Okay, RDA is recommended dietary allowance, that is amount required per day. So, for adult men and post-menopausal women, it is 10 milligram. Pre-menopausal or women in reproductive age group requires 15 to 20 milligram. Whereas pregnant woman requires 30 to 60 milligram of iron per day. So the extra amount in reproductive age group of women is because of okay, that is because of the loss of the menstruation. During menstruation we have to supplement it. Okay, now this is the normal iron kinetics. See, if 20 milligram of iron is taken in the food, only 1 milligram is absorbed from upper GI, okay, upper GI tract, and 19 milligram is excreted in the feces. So only 10%, 5 to 10% is absorbed. This is 5%, okay. 20 milligram was taken in food and 1 milligram is absorbed into the system, whereas 19 milligram is excreted, right. Now what happens of this 1 milligram? This 1 milligram is absorbed, and here is a transporter protein, transferrin, okay. It carries the iron in ferric state, and this plasma, it gives iron to all of this system, and this amounts, these are the overall average amount of iron present in normal human, okay, concentration, normal concentration. So storage ferritin could be of 600 milligram, approximately highest storage. There is a loss, there can be a loss through skin, that is 10 microgram, very low. Why through skin? Because desquamation will lead to loss of squamous cells, and all the cells they contain iron, and loss through bleeding. Here muscle myoglobin is 200 milligram, and hemopoietic system or hemoglobin, they contains this much, okay. So these are the system that requires iron. Now what are the functions? Functions are nothing but where iron is required. So for synthesis of heme compounds like hemoglobin, myoglobin, cytochrome, catalase, peroxidase, everything, and majority it helps in transport, storage and utilization of oxygen, right. So iron helps majority in transport, storage and utilization of oxygen. Next, synthesis of non-heme irons also, that is iron sulfur proteins of ETC and these enzymes. So these enzymes are also important to run the TCA cycle, right. Now how iron is absorbed? So I told you that normal iron intake should be 10 to 20 milligram per day, of which 5 to 10% only is absorbed, okay. So although the dietary intake we keep it at 10 to 20 milligram per day, only 5 to 10% of that dietary iron is absorbed. Now where it is absorbed? It is absorbed in the upper part of duodenum, upper part of duodenum. Non-heme iron bound to organic acids or proteins is absorbed in ferrous state into the mucosal cell. So we already learnt about the dietary sources. What is the source of non-heme iron? Plant irons, plant foods, and heme of the food is absorbed as it is by intestinal mucosal cells, okay, and then it is broken down and iron is released. So what it is saying, non-heme iron will be converted into ferrous state before getting absorbed, whereas heme, it is absorbed as it is, okay, and in the mucosal cell heme will be broken down into hemoglobin and other part, okay. Is it clear? So how does it look? Iron absorption takes place in 3 steps, okay. Luminal phase, whatever happens in the GIT lumen. Mucosal cellular phase, what is happening in the mucosal cell of intestine, and basolateral phase, that is release of the iron from mucosal cell to blood, okay. So this iron absorption is divided into 3 major parts. So look at this lumen part. Iron from food, it may be of non-heme type or heme type. If it is heme type, it will be absorbed thoroughly by heme transporter. Okay, and if it is non-heme iron, it generally stays in ferric form in gut, but it will be converted into ferrous form by vitamin C or ascorbic acid, and this ferrous form, divalent form, will be absorbed by DMT, divalent metal transporter 1. Okay, for transport of iron, ferrous form is required as it is transported via divalent metal transporter. Okay, so now here it is, look, heme came here and then it gave the iron in the ferrous form. Iron in the heme was in ferrous form, it released the ferrous iron. Now this ferrous iron can be stored in mucosal cell. This is a temporary storage of iron in the form of ferritin, mucosal ferritin. How it is happening? There is already a protein, apoferritin, okay, primer type of protein. It helps in accumulation of iron. So this iron, this ferrous, is converted into ferric form by ferrooxidase enzyme and gets attached to apoferritin. Okay, look at this side, this pathway, ferrous to ferric to mucosal ferritin by binding with apoferritin. Now this ferritin is stored temporarily. Why temporarily? The further absorption from mucosal cell to blood or crossing the basolateral membrane depends on the person's body iron concentration. If the iron concentration is low in blood, this ferritin will be further reduced to ferrous and this ferrous will be transported to the blood. But if someone's iron concentration is higher or they don't require iron right now, so this ferritin will stay in mucosal cells only. Okay, so here is a blockage depending on the iron concentration of person's body, some person's iron concentration. So this is known as mucosal block theory. Okay, so mucosal block theory is nothing by the iron gets trapped in the mucosal cells depending on the iron requirement of an individual. Okay, and when it is required, this ferric iron from ferritin is reduced to ferrous and then it is transported to blood by the transporter known as ferroportin. Okay, so this ferrous form again is converted into ferric form. So can we say one thing, for the transportation or for the crossing of membrane, it is required that ferrous form is should be there, right? So here also, to cross this gut lumen and to get absorbed into mucosal cell, iron, this ferric form converted into ferrous form and it was transported by divalent metal transporter, whereas here ferroportin transport also helps in transportation of ferrous iron. Clear? Now in lumen, in blood vessel, what happens? This ferrous form is converted to ferric by ceruloplasmin. This is a kind of ferrooxidase enzyme, copper containing ferrooxidase enzyme. Okay, and this ferric iron is bound with apotransferrin. Now this binds with apotransferrin to form the plasma transferrin. Transferrin is the transporter protein for iron. It transports the ferric form and it carries iron to the designated tissues. So iron is transported in our blood by transferrin protein in the form of transferrin. Ferric ion gets attached to apotransferrin in our blood vessels to form transferrin, which carries the iron to designated tissues. What are the designated tissues? Bone marrow for heme synthesis or for synthesis of other heme proteins, and liver, spleen for storage, liver, spleen or bone marrow for storage in the form of ferritin. So, ferritin can be found in liver, spleen and bone marrow and also in mucosal cells. Clear? So, the absorption of iron is divided into three parts: luminal part, mucosal cellular phase and basolateral phase, and then transport occurs. Okay. Now, see all the things written over here. Luminal phase, only ferrous form is absorbed. Ferric ion present in food is converted into ferrous by duodenal ferric reductase or with the help of vitamin C. Ferrous iron in the intestinal lumen binds to mucosal brush border protein called divalent metal transporter 1, DMT1. So, all other divalent ions including calcium, copper and lead will competitively inhibit the iron absorption. That is why when we give some patient iron supplement, we tell him or her to avoid calcium tablet with it, not to take calcium tablet with iron tablet or iron supplement. Why? Calcium is also divalent, so the absorption of iron will be inhibited by presence of calcium. Okay. Bound iron is then transported into the mucosal cell. See, this happens. Ferric is converted to ferrous and then it is transported into the lumen. Now, what happens in the mucosal cell? Iron binds to apoferritin and temporarily stored in the cell as ferritin and transported across the mucosal cell depending on body iron status. If there is anemia, iron is further absorbed into the bloodstream. If body stores are saturated with iron, then any iron accumulated in the mucosal cell will be lost when the cell is desquamated. Right? Understood? If there is requirement, the ferritin from mucosal cell will be converting to ferrous form and then will get absorbed. But in case of saturated iron status, all the ferritin stored in mucosal cell will get lost when the mucosal cell is desquamated. Thus, the fraction of iron absorbed is decided by the iron status. When iron is in excess, absorption is reduced, and this is the basis of mucosal block theory. So, there happens a block in the mucosal cells based on the iron status. Is this clear? Okay. Now, what happens in basolateral phase? During this phase, ferrous iron is released into the portal circulation by the basolateral iron transporter called ferroportin. Name of the transporter here is ferroportin. So, MCQ can be asked giving all type of transporter name, and the question will be which transporter is seen in iron transport in basolateral side. So, the answer will be ferroportin. Now, iron crosses the cell membrane as ferrous form. In blood, it is reoxidized to ferric by ceruloplasmin. Okay. So, copper is very important for iron metabolism. If there is deficiency of copper, ceruloplasmin is copper containing protein. Okay. So, if there is deficiency of copper, it will lead to deficiency or defect in ceruloplasmin, leading to faulty iron transport or faulty iron metabolism, and then transported by transferrin. Okay. So, what are the factors influencing iron absorption? Factors influencing iron absorption are reduced form of iron. Only ferrous form can be absorbed. Ascorbic acid. Ferric ions are reduced with help of gastric HCl, ascorbic acid, etc. Okay. So, presence of ascorbic acid is also very important. Interfering substances are like phytic acids of cereals and oxalic acid of leafy vegetables. They interfere with iron absorption or they decrease iron absorption. Okay. And other minerals, I already told about the divalent minerals like calcium, copper, etc. They should not be given along with iron at the same time. Now, regulation of absorption, already told, iron is absorbed from the duodenal enterocyte while erythroid precursors consume the iron. Hepatocytes are for storing the excess iron. So, for heme synthesis or heme protein synthesis, erythroid precursors they work and hepatocytes they act on iron storage. So, duodenal enterocyte, erythrocyte and hepatocyte they all act coordinatedly for regulation of absorption. How? See, regulation by hepcidin. What is hepcidin? Absorption, iron absorption is regulated by hepcidin. What is hepcidin? It is a small peptide produced by liver cells in response to iron needs. According to the need of body's iron concentration, there is production of hepcidin from liver cells. Its production decreases in anemia, hypoxia and inflammation. So, wherever there is increased need of iron, hepcidin production is decreased. Why? Because hepcidin reduces the synthesis of both DMT and ferroportin. So, hepcidin inhibits iron absorption and its transport to blood. Its level increase in high iron stores and where there is inflammation. Why? Hepcidin binds to ferroportin and hepcidin ferroportin complex it breaks down quickly. So, by breaking down the ferroportin or the iron transporter, hepcidin inhibits the iron absorption. Okay. So, regulation of iron absorption is done by hepcidin. Hepcidin is a small polypeptide produced in liver in response of iron requirement and it helps in blocking DMT and ferroportin. That is why in case of anemia, hepcidin will be decreased, production of hepcidin should be decreased and in case of high iron stores, its concentration should be increased. Clear? Next regulation, acha, look. So, wherever there are ferroportin channels, hepcidin blocks them. Okay. Now, erythropoietic regulation. In response to anemia, the erythroid cells will send signals to mucosa to increase iron absorption. Now, not only by hepcidin, but also there is erythropoietin. It is a signal molecule released from kidney in anemia. Okay. So, in anemic condition, our kidneys produce signal molecule that is erythropoietin and they send signal to mucosal cells to increase iron absorption. So, in anemic condition, erythropoietin will lead to increase iron absorption. Clear? Next, regulation by transferrin receptors. Transferrin receptors কোথায় থাকে? At tissue level. These transferrin receptors are at tissue level. Okay, there is a reciprocal relationship between ferritin and transferrin receptor. Why? Ferritin store increases when there is less requirement of iron in blood. Okay. So, when ferritin increases, transferrin receptors they decrease. Transferrin receptors help in accepting the transferrin or accepting the irons from transferrin. Transferrin, what was the role of transferrin? To transport iron. Transferrin was helping in transportation of iron from mucosal capillary to portal system to liver and all other tissues. So if body's requirement is less, so there will be lower transferrin receptors and increase ferritin, and they act in a reciprocal way. So expression of proteins involved in uptake, storage and transport of iron are regulated at transcription level. So all these are proteins, so they are produced or they are regulated at transcriptional level. In case of high concentration of iron, mRNA for ferritin is translated and ferritin is synthesized, but mRNA for transferrin receptor is degraded, resulting in reduced transferrin protein synthesis. Why? Because if there is increased transferrin receptor, there will be accumulation of that excess iron in tissues. That's why body itself stop producing TFR or the receptors. Okay. Increasing the storage of ferritin. Ferritin can be reused. Ferritin is the storage, whereas the transferrin is the transporter. So think like that. Ferritin is the go down and transporters are the trucks. Okay, trucks are the entry gates. So if iron is more, we don't require much iron. So we don't require much trucks. We have enough in our go down. So we will increase the store in go down. We will not increase the trucks. Okay, remember like that. Now, transport in blood and uptake by cells. So transport from form of iron is transferrin. One molecule of transferrin can transport 2 ferric atoms. Now, there is a term known as total iron binding capacity that is provided by transferrin. Okay. So the concentration of transferrin and iron concentration combined is counted as total iron binding capacity. It is 400 microgram per 100 ml. Okay. In blood, ceruloplasmin is a ferroxidase which oxidizes ferrous to ferric. This ferric binds with apotransferrin to form transferrin. Now, transferrin receptors are present on cells, binds 2 molecules of transferrin at a time and they are internalized. Iron is taken by the cells. Okay. So, by receptors, what happens? Transferrin receptors, they binds with 2 molecules of transferrin at a time. One transferrin can transport 2 ferric atoms. Okay. Now, when this transferrin receptor, transferrin binds to its receptor, the whole thing is internalized and iron is released into the cell. Now, storage of iron. Storage form of iron is ferritin. I already told you. It is seen mainly in intestinal mucosal cells, liver, spleen and bone marrow. Okay. There is apoferritin which can take up to 4000 iron atoms per molecule of ferritin. So, one ferritin molecule, fully formed ferritin molecule can contain up to 4000 iron atoms. Okay. And the starter protein is apoferritin with which the ferric iron binds. Ferritin level in blood is an index of body's iron store. If ferritin is elevated in plasma, that means iron overload. Taito, I told you it is a storage form. If iron concentration is more, ferritin will increase. Okay. In iron deficiency anemia, generally ferritin content is reduced. There is no storage iron even in iron deficiency anemia. And the other storage form is hemosiderin, but it is not a proper proteinated storage form. It is a partial deproteinized form of ferritin. Okay. And it is more insoluble, whereas ferritin is more soluble. Right. Now, excretion of iron. Iron, I told you, iron metabolism is one way. That is why iron is called as one way element. Very little of it is excreted, but feces contain unabsorbed iron. Whatever we ate, only 5 to 10% is absorbed. the other part is excreted in feces, and some part is trapped in intestinal cells also. Okay, some part is trapped in intestinal cell as mucosal ferritin. So, whenever there is disformation of intestinal mucosal cell, the stored ferritin will be lost, and as I told you earlier also, all the cells in skin that also contain iron, so upper layer of skin that is continuously being discomated. So, this is another route for loss of iron. And in case of menstruating woman, menstruation is another cause for loss. Okay, now coming to the disorders of iron metabolism. So, till now is it clear? Huh? Iron source, daily requirement, daily allowance, what is the function of iron, what are the proteins, heme proteins, non-heme proteins, iron sulfur proteins, then the absorption part, 3 different stages of absorption, regulation of absorption by hepcidin, by erythropoietin, by transferrin receptor, and transport by transferrin, then storage in form of ferritin and hemosiderin. Clear? Until this clear everyone? Now coming to disorders of iron metabolism. So, any metabolism disorder can be because of excess or low. So, when there is deficiency, it will lead to iron deficiency anemia, and when there is iron overload, there will be hemosiderosis. Okay, these are the 2 type of major disorders. Now coming to iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency anemia results from iron deficiency, very easy. But what is the link between deficiency of iron and anemia? What is anemia? Decrease in the RBC count or in hemoglobin concentration. Okay, and that has a mark for woman, for men. Okay. Now, what are the causes? What could be the causes of iron deficiency? So, first of all, nutritional deficiency of iron can be there. Less iron intake in diet. Second point can be lack of absorption. Someone is taking iron appropriately, proper iron content allowance he or she is taking, but there is a lack of absorption. Why can there be lack of absorption? I told about everything, about the transporter, about the ferrous form, everything. Now, hookworm infection. Hookworm infection will lead to blood loss, and that may lead to chronic iron deficiency. Repeated pregnancies. Why repeated pregnancies? No time to heal. Okay, no time to heal mother's own hemoglobin criteria. Chronic blood loss like in hemorrhoids, peptic ulcer or menorrhagia. There are few nephrotic causes, that is nephrotic syndrome. Why? There is loss of proteins in urine. So, these proteins, haptoglobin, transferrin, hemopexin, all the iron containing proteins, they can get lost in urine in nephrotic syndrome. Okay, and in lead poisoning, iron absorption and hemoglobin synthesis both can be reduced. So, lead can inhibit hemoglobin synthesis, we have studied. So, lead poisoning, chronic lead poisoning can lead to iron deficiency anemia. So, what are the clinical manifestations of iron deficiency anemia? And what is the finding, microscopic finding, that is the RBCs will be microcytic and hypochromic. Microcytic and hypochromic, as the hemoglobin concentration will be low, it will be less in color and in smaller size. So these are the clinical manifestations like weakness, fatigue, dizziness, palpitation, similar to all other anemic symptoms. Non-specific symptoms like nausea, anorexia, constipation, menstrual irregularities. Prolonged iron deficiency causes atrophy of gastric epithelium leading to achlorhydria. What is it? Deficiency of HCl. So all the gut lining is desquamated or lost, leading to loss of HCl secretion in stomach, which in turn causes lesser absorption of iron. Okay, so chronic anemia leads to shedding of gastric mucosa, leading to achlorhydria, and that will in turn lead to lesser iron absorption. Chronic iron deficiency anemia will lead to impaired attention, irritability, lowered memory, poor scholastic performance in children. And in chronic iron deficiency, there is koilonychia or spoon nail. Okay, so how does it look? It looks like this. Okay, spoon shaped nail beds. And this is hypochromic microcytic. Hypochromic, why? Colors are very fade and size of the RBCs are small and there are multiple teardrop shaped RBCs. Right? So, microcytic hypochromic anemia. Now, how can we treat iron deficiency? Oral iron supplement. Oral iron supplement is the treatment of choice, and iron tablets are usually given along with vitamin C, which helps it to convert to ferrous form and facilitates the absorption in gut. Administration of iron zinc combinations are also available. They are also used. Now, coming to iron overload disorder. So, iron overload can lead to hemosiderosis and ultimately to hemochromatosis. What is hemosiderosis? When there is accumulation of hemosiderin without any tissue injury. So, mainly we can see hemosiderin in our blood, which is a deprotonated form of ferritin. Okay, and here when its store increases, it is called as hemosiderosis. And what is hemochromatosis? When the hemosiderin concentration increases more and more, what lead to organ injury, then it is called as hemochromatosis. In hemosiderosis, normal hemosiderosis, there is no organ injury. Whenever there is organ injury, it is known as hemochromatosis. And in hemochromatosis, which organs are affected? All the organs. Why? Because of iron accumulation or iron deposits. So, in liver, it will lead to cirrhosis. In pancreas, it will lead to pancreatitis and in turn diabetes mellitus. In skin, there will be skin pigmentation and this condition is called as bronze diabetes. The triad of cirrhosis, hemochromatosis and diabetes. Hemochromatosis means the skin pigmentation. The triad of cirrhosis, diabetes and skin pigmentation is known as bronze diabetes. This is because of iron overload. This is also asked, what is bronze diabetes in your short note. Okay. In other endocrine organ leading to hypothyroidism or testicular atrophy in joints, if there is deposits of hemosiderin in joints, that will lead to arthritis. In heart, it will lead to arrhythmia and heart failure. Okay, clear? So, accumulation of iron in the form of hemosiderin in our body is known as hemosiderosis. And how will we get to know it? When there is organ deposition or organ is affected, any organs are affected. So, it will be known as, it will be called hemochromatosis. Okay. Now, these are the parameters we can do to see the status of iron. Serum iron concentration, ferritin concentration and total iron binding capacity. Total iron binding capacity is nothing but the estimation of transferrin. Okay. So, in normal individual, serum iron concentration should be 60 to 170 microgram per dl. Ferritin should be 15 to 300. Okay. Why this is a larger range? To accommodate everyone. Okay. As females they menstruate, their iron store is continuously repleted. Okay. So, and TIBC is, ferritin is 300 to 400 microgram per dl. In pregnancy, what happens? In pregnancy, iron is low, ferritin is low or normal, TIBC is high. Why transferrins are high? Because body's requirement is high. Right? Body's requirement is high, that's why. Remember TIBC or transferrin as the trucks. Okay, we need more trucks to supply more of iron. In iron deficiency anemia, what happens? It is absolute iron deficiency. So, here also high TIBC, low iron and low ferritin. But in functional iron deficiency, where there is problem in heme synthesis, there will be low TIBC, because the problem in functional part, not in the absorption part, where there is formation of heme is defective. There is, in that case, serum iron will be low, ferritin can be high or normal and TIBC will be low. Okay. In hemolytic anemia, what happens? Hemolysis happens. So, the iron from blood or the hemolysis will come into serum, leading to high serum iron, high ferritin and high or normal TIBC. Anemia at one side will lead to high TIBC and hemolysis will lead to high iron and high ferritin. Okay. In infections also iron will be low and this will be normal or low. In hemosiderosis, these two, iron and ferritin concentration will be high. Right? In hemosiderosis, what happens? Hemosiderin deposits are there, so iron store is high, ferritin is also high, TIBCs are low. Okay, clear? So, these are the major parameters, iron, ferritin and TIBC. Now, come to the MCQs. Where is the primary site of dietary iron absorption? Duodenum. Hepcidin acts by binding to which transmembrane iron exporter, leading to its degradation? Hepcidin binds to which transmembrane iron exporter and breaks it down? Ferroportin. Ferroportin. It also prevents the transport across DMT, but it breaks down ferroportin. Okay. Which protein is responsible for transporting iron in the blood? In blood? Transferrin. What is the major storage form of iron in body? Major storage form is ferritin. Which vitamin enhances the absorption of non-heme iron? Vitamin C. Hey, all of you, why are you silent? Why you girls are not answering? Huh? Last question. In a patient with iron deficiency anemia, the typical pattern of iron studies will be, someone from this side tell me. Huh? Iron deficiency anemia. What will be the serum iron? Huh? And what will be the TIBC? Ball? In iron deficiency, serum iron will be low and TIBC will be high. তাই তো বলেছিলাম নাকি? Okay, so the answer will be low serum iron, high TIBC.